in our lives, we don't always have the privilege to act. But there are moments like this where I did. As I started to get more access into politics, I was seeing more behind the curtain in D.C. So I just started to hear, Swalwell sleeping with his interns. Don't give him your phone number. He'll sext you in the middle of the night. That's apparently a thing that he does. And, I'm hearing all of this stuff. And then a personal friend of mine is telling me that she had a situation with him that could have been really bad. I was talking to people behind the scenes, like, are we thinking like this is gonna come out? Like, surely somebody is gonna say something. People have tried to talk to the media. People have tried to come forward. It always gets killed. It always ends up being that he intimidates somebody and they pull out. And I was just to the point where I was like sick. It was like nauseating. And I just like fully spiraled. These are people who are entrenched in this world and they are being told your principal is an extension of you. Like, you are to protect the principal with your entire career and life. And that's what we're working with when somebody goes in and preys on them. He used to take meetings in Dublin, California at Hooters.
Like, stop it right now. At Hooters?
At Hooters. So this is the kind of guy that we're working with. It's like a bigger, broader issue.
Those of you who are new, my Substack is where you can find all of the videos, like the full video all in one go at the Political Pin the Hat as podcast tab. If you are watching on YouTube, welcome to my channel. Make sure that you subscribe and feel free to check out the Substack.
Eric Swalwell was outed as being the absolute fucking worst predator, allegedly, and and just an absolute creep. Allegedly. So how exactly did this, kind of come about for you? And then, we can kind of get into everything that's happened since.
Yeah. I mean, I think as I started to get more access into politics, I was seeing more behind the curtain in D.C. And that is not a great thing. Pretty much universally not good. So I just started to hear, Swalwell sleeping with his interns. Don't give him your phone number. He'll sext you in the middle of the night. That's apparently a thing that he does. And, I'm hearing all of this stuff. And then a personal friend of mine is telling me that she had a situation with him that could have been really bad if she hadn't, like, her spidey senses just kicked on and she jetted. Now it, like, literally gives me shivers to think about that because I'm like, thank God that you did. So yeah, I just like kept hearing things. And to me, like, I was like, this is crazy. I was talking to people behind the scenes, like, are we thinking like this is going to come out? Like, surely somebody is going to say something. Not me, but somebody important will know, to say something. And people just kept saying, I don't know. It hasn't come out yet. He ran for this office. He ran for that office. People have tried to talk to the media. People have tried to come forward. It always gets killed. It always ends up being that he intimidates somebody and they pull out. Like, all these things had happened repeatedly. And I was just to the point where I was like sick. I was like, I don't even want to do politics anymore. I don't want to create in this space anymore because it was like nauseating. And I just like fully spiraled. Yeah. So it got to the point where I was like, listen, everybody, I am going to post on Friday if this hasn't hit the news. And everybody was like, not advisable. And I was like,
except me. I was like, go for it.
You were very supportive. It's not that my friends weren't supportive. It's just that they were like nervous because that is not a thing that you do. And I was like, I will get an umbrella policy on the house. I already have a lawyer for the women. So because settlement agreements and NDAs were like a big topic of conversation at that point. So I was like, listen, we're going to get them legal support. I'm going to make sure that I don't get my pantsuit off of me. And we're just going to do it because the truth is the truth.
Yes.
I've seen what I needed to see.
Yes.
So I posted and it just was absolutely bonkers, but now we're here.
The rumors had been going on for quite a while. Not only did, some journalists know, people who are just generally in politics know that this had been circulating about him, but also some Congress people ended up outing themselves as people who knew that this was a thing, a reputation that Swalwell had, because once everything got out, there's like this compilation on Instagram going around where, all these politicians are like, we knew. Yeah, this was a reputation and they're just like nonchalant about it, right? egregious. So I do want to give people a little bit of a timeline of what happened. So after you came out with, you know, the whole situation, just letting the public know because he was running for governor, Swalwell initially said that he'd fight the false allegations while also admitting on video to cheating on his wife. He then resigns as more women end up stepping forward to accuse him of grape, if you know what I mean, avoiding an expulsion vote, because that would have been really bad for him. Other congressmen then alleged to have heard the rumors about him for years, but did nothing about it. The LA Sheriff's Department then opened up an investigation into Swalwell that is currently ongoing. And then as of today, Newsweek breaks that Swalwell used campaign funds to pay for a hotel where he's seen allegedly assaulting a woman on video in 2021. So that's basically everything that has happened since then. How do you feel? How do you feel about all of this?
I'm getting that question a lot, and I feel like I should have come up with a better answer, but like honestly, I'm just like sad and numb. Like I wish that I had like some sense of like, wow, I don't know, any kind of like strong feeling about it. I'm just so sad because I know that the thing that pretty much every woman knows, that this is the world that we're living in.
Yep.
And I'm so sad that it took so many people trying to report it and failing to report it and being intimidated and like hitting a wall because the press couldn't publish it, and like all these things. Like the number of women is just like so weighty, and like it's like a bigger, broader issue.
I just got back from D.C. So I, witnessed firsthand, just in one day, 24 hours, just how young these staffers are, right? Like, obviously there's, people who are, a little older than college age, but for the most part, really, really young people. A lot of these Congress people end up being much older. And I think what really strikes me about this entire situation is that, of course, the internet will be the internet and will blame the victims, right? The first thing that I started seeing coming out is like, why now? Why should we believe them now? Like, this happened years ago, right? Like, why not speak back then? Why are you speaking now, right? When, conveniently there's a race going on, right? So that was the first thing that started happening. And then the other thing was the victim blaming on, what they were accusing him of seemed to be unbelievable, right? That couldn't have possibly happened. He's a married man. He's got children, right? What does that do to you as the person who was trying to figure out, how can I help these people come forward? How does it, affect you to hear that there are so many potential voters who have this mentality that, it can't possibly be true because of the timing or because of what they're alleging?
I mean, it's like a lot of things, right? It's like tale as old as time in one way. And then also it's just like frustrating and it's sad. It makes me so angry. And like, I feel it's just, again, so indicative of the broader world that we are living in. And like earlier, like I mentioned, a lot of people tried but couldn't report it because the way that the infrastructure of Washington, D.C. is built, it is a boys' club. It was built for men. It is continued to serve men, and it serves this kind of environment where, it's really, not only is the process itself to report sexual misconduct difficult, even though they've reformed it, it's still quite hard. It's also like they're young. They're so young. And this is their entire world, like their office that they're in, that's maybe their extent of their career. And then for people to be like, well, why now? They tried. But like, it's also the victim blaming that you mentioned, where it's like, well, why did she ask him for a recommendation letter? Who else are you going to ask for a recommendation letter?
It's your boss.
That is your boss.
You ask
you
them
have
for recommendations.
that's the choice you get. If you, it's maddening. And it's so like, I think these people don't even realize how absolutely ridiculous they sound and how they are contributing to this issue.
Yeah, because it's an issue everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Not just in politics, but there is, definitely a power imbalance that I, saw firsthand, where I'm looking at, directly into the eyes of a staffer who probably just graduated college maybe a year ago, maybe less, and is really just doing the best that they can in the job that they have. One of the things that I definitely wanted to ask you as well is, like, why did you feel so strongly? Because as we heard, other Congress people, right, people in power knew about this and didn't say anything. So why did you specifically feel so strongly that this needed to come out?
I mean, like you, I've had somebody at my workplace who was in a position of power over me assault me, and it was just the worst ever because he made sure that I knew how beloved he was and all the things that I've seen play out with Swalwell and his survivors that he has victimized. It's just these horrible things that he's done. And I couldn't sit on it. I mean, I just it was just such a no-brainer to me to say something because I knew it was true, and I knew that it had to stop. This has to stop. And people have attributed it to well, you were a kindergarten teacher, you were a mandated reporter, and all these things. No, I don't know. I never thought of it that way. I just thought of it this is wrong. It's just egregious. And I know as well that in our lives, we don't always have the privilege to act. But there are moments like this where I did. I don't work in D.C. This is just a guy to me.
Right.
Another
man.
all of these politicians are not I feel nothing, I'm not putting them on a pedestal. So I was just this is a man doing something bad, and my social circle's not affected. I am a white woman in LA who has, the ability to call attention to something without any harm befalling me. Why the hell not do it? And that's the thing that it just seemed like a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I think, you mentioned something about the media, people trying to go to the media. As somebody who works in media, I can definitely tell you, and I did warn you, to be very careful which media outlets you talk to, which reporters you talk to, because there is a concept called catch and kill. For anybody who's unaware, this became a really popularized concept during the Harvey Weinstein situation, where I think the reporter actually wrote a book called Catch and Kill. It's a concept in media that needs to just be completely over and done with. But editors will accept a story, right? So accept an investigation into a man like Harvey Weinstein or Eric Swalwell. And so the reporter begins doing their due diligence and making sure that they're doing the fact finding and, gathering the evidence and everything like that. And once the story begins to be more and more fleshed out, certain publications will then say, okay, you've gathered enough evidence. Unfortunately, we're not going to run the story. And they kill the story. And that is an unfortunate practice that has happened for a long time. And I was specifically afraid that, these women talking to the wrong publication or the wrong reporter would run into potentially another situation, or for the first time, a situation where they get their hopes up thinking the story is going to come out and the publication completely cuts it. It happens too often. It shouldn't happen, but it does. And, we can speculate that they're trying to protect powerful politicians. We can suspect that, they don't want Democrats specifically to be outed as predators when we already know that's happening on the Republican side, right? So there are lots of different reasons why some of these publications will choose to do a catch and kill story. Another reason that we've, also talked about is people don't want to get sued, right? There might not be enough evidence, or there might not be enough for them to build a solid case to out the person as a predator. Regardless of the reason, I was still very hopeful that you guys were going to be able to get these women at least the level of safety that they needed in order to, get the story out. but it's relative safety, right? Like
Yes.
there are still people out there that now that this is out are potentially sending them damaging messages, DMs, like potential doxing could be a part of it. And that is another reason why victims choose not to come out as well, is because of that fear. So when I saw that the story broke and I saw that you were like, guns blazing, here we go. I was like, okay, let's go. Let's get this out there. Yeah.
But your advice was so clutch for me, like as always, because I was fielding all these calls from reporters and we were collecting like a list of lawyers and all these things. And it got to the point where it was just like it was like so many people and so many women coming forward every day. There were more and more. So I was like, okay, how do I avoid a catch and kill? I was like, what do we do?
And I'm sure it sent Eric into a panic attack, as we saw in the video that he posted on Instagram. When you saw that video, I've seen a couple of your reactions, but when you saw that video, take me back, because I literally was like, oh, I've seen this before. This is Bill Clinton all over again.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, it was so obvious to me. But what were you thinking?
Well, even before that too, with his media hits that he was doing before that, with like blatantly lying to the camera, we were all waiting with bated breath to see what's he gonna say.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't been gone to for comment yet. So we're watching him get kind of cocky in the media. I was not expecting him to just blatantly lie. I've never had allegations. I've never had sex with anybody outside my marriage. I've never had sex with a staffer. I've never done ND. Like, oh my God. I was like, oh, he just told so many lies in a row. And like, really, the righteous anger of women is like the key central part of this, because if you read the San Francisco Chronicle article, the woman who came forward was not ready to come forward until he pissed her off, or his staff pissed her off and was like, Eric's not worried about these allegations. They're just rumors. And she was like, okay, I'm brave. Like, I found it. Like, it takes that. And that was what happened with like everybody. I mean, like the hell hath no fury like a woman scorned is like, hell yeah. Like that is where we find it, and in community with each other, having each other, and then having that within our soul is like the driving force. And then he said, I never had anybody sign an NDA. A woman sends an NDA to Politico. Like, all over and over and over. And CNN, they weren't going to catch and kill, but there was like a thing where they went to Eric for comment.
Yeah.
His comment was, send cease and desist to two of the women by using context clues of these anonymous allegations. And I was like, I was expecting you to cease and desist me, not your victims, you freaking sociopath. I mean,
victims that you allegedly had nothing to do with.
Anonymous
So
victims
how
that
would
I
you
figured
know
out.
to send them a cease and desist?
By text, mind you.
Wow.
Mind you. So bizarre. So it was just a horrible situation. So, we're talking, and he hops in the media, cocky as hell, dunking on people on Twitter. A lot more women come forward. And
a lot more.
A lot more. And then
I think it was originally 3, right? Or 2?
It was, so she had talked to like 20.
Okay.
But like what ended up coming out, it was 3 in CNN and 1 in CNN and San Francisco Chronicle.
Okay.
So there was 4.
Yes.
And then, but Allie was unnamed. She was totally anonymous. And I think she'd be fine with me saying this because I think she said it. But like, he was like being so cocky that I was like, so, hey, how's it going? And she was like, what is wrong with this man, basically? And I was like, so would you like go on record? Like, do you think? She was like, would that help? And that's when I called Allison and was like, hey, if somebody went on record, would it help? And Pam Brown goes, yeah. I was like,
yeah, it always helps. It always helps.
She saved the damn day. Like, these women who came forward, whether they're named or not, Annika, who just came out in CBS and like has been like, these women that Eric Swalwell fucked with were the wrong ones. They are so smart, connected, brave. Like, I mean, I think to get into politics in general,
of course,
you have to have that within you. And
severely underestimated that.
He really did. I mean, he thought these people were going to need him for his career and he could like use that. No. I mean, they were heroes. They were really like, it wouldn't have happened, obviously, without them. So it was... So watching him then in the chair at that billionaire's house, by that point, I was like, Eric. Like,
really put his foot in his mouth. Because in the same video, in the same video, he said, yeah, none of this ever happened. It's all false, blah, blah, blah. And then, but, you know, this conversation is private between me and my wife, and I've certainly made mistakes and blah, blah. So you just admitted to cheating?
Not a comms person in sight. No, he was too activated. He ran out of things to do. He couldn't threaten people's careers. He couldn't say it was MAGA. He couldn't say that he was being attacked by the right. The jig was up.
It was too much.
It was too much.
Too much evidence all in one go. That's really how this type of story should be told. So CNN did a fantastic job. I usually have a lot of smoke for CNN, but they did a really good job in this one. I want to read this out because The Guardian also came out with something recently. So there's a little snippet in this article that says Eric Swalwell officially resigned from Congress amid the threat of an expulsion vote and other misconduct allegations he has denied. A special election to fill his vacant seat will be held on the 18th of August. At a Los Angeles press conference this morning, Lana Drews accused Swalwell of drugging and raping her, you know what I mean by that, in 2018, telling reporters that she did not consent to any sexual activity. Later, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Special Victims Bureau said it had opened up an investigation into Swalwell for a case involving an adult female who reported being sexually assaulted by him. So an additional person ended up coming out, gave that press conference. I watched snippets of the press conference and I thought, you know, this is a person who has very clearly been holding this for a really long time, for many years. And it couldn't have been easy. It couldn't have been easy for any of them, you know, whether it was in an article or they had to get on video to talk about this. Like, this isn't a type of situation that you want to be in the first place. But then to know that speaking out about it is going to help future staffers not be placed in that same situation, that should not be the responsibility of a victim. But unfortunately, in the world that we live in, that's the case. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked me, they're like, do you think this should be, like, the onus should be on women? I'm like, of course not. Why would I think that?
Yeah.
When you're an intern and you start your job, who tells you who to avoid? Mm-hmm. The women.
Yeah.
When you have something that happens to you in the office, you go to a woman. Mm-hmm. You find somebody, because 1 in 4 women have been assaulted. Correct. Probably more, because I believe those reported.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah.
I don't know, and this is really sad, I don't know a single woman who hasn't been sexually assaulted, unless, you know, I do have somebody and I just don't know, but I don't know anybody.
You know, I look at my daughters and think about that statistic all the time.
Yeah.
Throughout all of this, I just have, like, I literally look at them and I'm just like, fuck.
One rumor should have been enough to be like,
The excuse that I'll see a lot is, well, we didn't know about sexual assault allegations. And to be fair, nor did I. There was even a person the day that I posted about this asking me, are you saying that he assaulted somebody, or, like, is it a sexual harassment thing? And I said, okay, they had asked me in a way that was like, I could tell they were actually trying to understand what I was saying. And I said, well, I haven't heard assault. Very quickly that changed. After Cheyenne posted, immediately, because she did it to video, which is a very different type of audience, as you know, as a creator, than text, which is, I did that deliberately, but just to see what was going to happen. So when she posted, we instantly got assault allegations, both of us, that came into our inbox. And holy shit, I was just like, to me, the whole thing with the men, now I have talked to people who worked for and with Swalwell back in the day who are men, and I asked them this question. Yeah. How the fuck did this happen?
Yes. I want to know the answer.
She's like, my jaw.
Tell me everything.
I'll tell you. I mean, it was crazy. In particular, people, they were young as well at the time. Mm-hmm. So they had, in one instance, gotten an intern a job. And she was like, woohoo, I'm working on the Hill. I'm an intern. How cool. Yeah. And one of her friends had something bad happen with Swalwell. And she's hysterical. She's like, I mean, who wouldn't be? You know, like, how awful. Yeah. And you're young, and you don't think that a politician's going to do this, because you think, like, we're the good guys.
Right.
We're the Dems, like, whatever. Mm-hmm. So she goes to her friend who got the job, who's a man. And he, first of all, was just like, I got them this job. What the fuck? Like, how horrible. And he went to their superior and a more senior staffer, and said, this is happening. This is horrible. Like, how can this be? We have to do something. And the response was, that's just Eric. He's a cheeseball. Like, he's a little bit of a creep, but like, is whatever. Like, how do we know that it wasn't like consensual, whatever? This is Eric Swalwell. I don't know if this is a little inside info, but he used to take meetings in Dublin, California at Hooters.
Like, stop it right now. At Hooters.
At Hooters. So this is the kind of guy that we're working with. He's like hooking up with interns, and everybody's being told, well, that's just what it is. Even though they're coming to these senior people who are more on equal footing with Eric at the time, being like, this is wrong. And they're like, yeah. So they'll like move a woman. They'll say, you got to go to a different office or whatever. If you rebuke him, like, it was just slimy.
That's protection.
Protection.
You move people around. You shuffle them around. The people who are too loud get kicked out quietly. And then the people who are like, yeah, okay, I won't say anything because they're telling me not to say anything, they get to stay.
And it's unfortunate that there were, and I had a conversation with him because he's been in touch with these women. Like, they certainly don't blame him because he tried. And he still is like, it's a very emotional time for people who worked in that office back in the day, especially during the Me Too time, when people were trying to come forward and did feel that they were squashed. And I said to him, when I went through my workplace thing, I didn't see justice myself. They moved him to a different school. He faced no consequence. It was a horrible, humiliating experience to report it, to be investigated. All of it was bad. But the one place where I did feel justice is there was in particular one man who was like his best friend who told HR that he believed me and that something should be done. Even though they had been really close for years, he believed me in private, like behind my back was saying, why would she lie about this? Things like that. And to me, that was all the justice I ever got, was not only women believing me, but men and who stood for me. And that is rare, and it shouldn't be, but it is. So, I'm not saying that that's how these women in particular felt, but I'm saying, it is notable that you tried in a pre-Me Too world, which is not perfect now, but certainly was not perfect then, worse.
Right.
So I do feel bad for people who tried to come forward on women's behalf who now have to say, I fucking told you, and have to make the same phone calls again. Yeah. Because to my point that I got sidetracked on, but I think that not reporting the small things and brushing off the small things is what enables a freaking crazy person who's going to go on to rape people.
Right.
It's going to start small. And if you're going to stop the big ones, you're not always going to know who's going to be the big one, but you're going to have to say something at a smaller point and stop it then.
Absolutely. It always starts with, predators don't start off by going to the extreme. Right. They always start with like little manipulations here, a little touch here, a little kiss on the cheek there, a little boundary crossing here. And the more people that stand around and excuse it, like, oh, that's just Eric. That's just how he is. That is the roadway to the big stuff, right? And like, that pisses me off.
It pisses me off. And it's really just, I mean, this man ran for governor after being investigated while running for president and knowing that he was being investigated, mind you. He dropped out. Yes, he had no momentum in that race. Like he wasn't polling high, whatever. It wasn't going to happen.
I don't even remember him running for president.
He did in 2019. Yeah, he did. And he, it wasn't going to happen, but he knew that there was going to be a CNN story breaking about him. Wow. And he dropped, and then the women said, well, maybe it's not worth coming forward because what are we going to get? And he just slithered away. What is are we going to get hung out to dry in the press, which we have seen how they've talked about this. Yeah. And that's something as a survivor too, you have to weigh. Yeah. Is it worth it? Yeah. And it's horrible that we have to even think that. It should always be worth it. Yeah. But it's just sometimes so horrible and taxing. I mean, like, that's why people don't go get their rape kits done. They don't go to the police. And we see rape kits sit untested for years sometimes. I mean, it is not a survivor-friendly process. It's not fun to go to court. It's not like people just are so flippant with like, why didn't you X, Y, and Z?
Right.
Look at what that actually means before you fix your mouth to say that.
Right. Yeah. It's an incredibly dehumanizing process.
Yeah.
I want to get into the story that Newsweek came out with today.
Okay. I haven't seen.
Allegedly, there is a video. I have to say allegedly, guys. You know the deal. I'm going to read this out to you. So filings with the Federal Election Commission show that former Democratic Representative Eric Swalwell's campaign paid around $1,100 to a Dallas Vegas hotel hours before a widely circulated video was recorded. A forensic report obtained by Newsweek determined that the video was recorded in the early morning hours of July 13th, 2021, and shows that Swalwell was in a hotel room kissing a woman on a bed. The two short clips show an adult male kissing a woman inside what appears to be a hotel room and the pair lying down together on the bed. At least 3 other people are in the room with them. A man on the bed, a woman in the background, and an individual filming. So, not only is the man a freaking creep, but he used campaign money to pay for said creep behavior. That is another level that I don't know we were expecting. Typically, you want to hide these types of things, right? And it seems like he really had this big inflated ego where he just thought, we're just going to do it all, right? Like we're getting away with it. So why not do it now? This was 2021. That's a couple of years ago.
There was. And more to come on the campaign finances of Eric Swalwell. And I think you've learned by now when I say that.
it's
just freaking trust me. Just hang on a second. Yeah, no.
Wow.
This will not be the end of that in the news. It is a non-zero chance that he used campaign funds for any of this. And this is a conversation I've been having with people for a while, because where did he settle it from? So I'm like going through all these PDFs, you know, and you're looking for like payments to, and we know that like he hired a white collar lawyer for $300,000 over 6 or 7 years. So I posted about that just to get a temp check on the threads. Right. People ate me alive. They're like, well, he was investigated by Donald Trump. And I said, well, Adam Schiff was also investigated by Donald Trump. Well, it was the Chinese spy thing. Okay, well, Donald Trump wasn't president for 2016, 2021, 2022, 23.
Right.
So like, he's blaming Donald Trump for that, for all of it.
Right.
And I'm just saying, maybe we look a little closer at the finances if we know that there's a woman who was settled, at least one, as reported by Politico. Like, you know, we're just worth taking a shot. And look, people are, you know, it's coming out because he did have that hubris. Yeah. And he assaulted Lana at a place he was staying for campaign.
Right.
It was his own campaign finances that showed that hotel that appeared on the police report. So it's like the hubris of this man, the same hubris that allowed him to escalate to the point that he did, that allowed him to think that he could run for governor, all of it. I mean, him using campaign money to facilitate his weird creep shit, not shocking. And like, I don't know when he was ever working anyways, because all he was doing, from everything I've heard, he's just Snapchatting away. He must
really. Did he even do his own like research in terms of like, you know, Congress like rulings and stuff? Like
0%
it's
chance.
all staffers.
It's all staffers.
I believe it, because the level of work that these staffers. So I went to D.C. to lobby for Puerto Rican independence recently, and the only people I spoke to were staffers, because none of the Congress people were there. They were either traveling or just flying in, so it was a whole thing. The level of work that these staffers were doing, I was impressed. I was genuinely impressed. Like, they were doing the work of a politician.
Yeah, the analogy that I always use is that DC is like every single politician has their little head sticking out of a trench coat, and underneath the trench coat is 15 staffers.
Right.
who are literally doing everything.
Running the show.
You watch, remember the Cory Booker, not filibuster?
Yes.
All those binders you saw him have were created by staffers. All of his talking points, all the letters from constituents, everything was meticulously organized by his staffers for a 25-hour speech. Like, everything that they do is a staffer. There's staff that answers their comms, unless you're Ruben Gallego and you control your own Twitter to your own detriment. Like, different things. Like, they are all working so hard to do everything. They get they get them ready for press hits. They make sure that they have food. They make sure that all of these things. I mean, people do not understand that until they go into this world and they see it. Yeah. And that's also why people don't understand wholly that these are not just, these aren't adults who are consenting. These are people who are entrenched in this world, and they are being told your principal is an extension of you. Yeah. Like, you are to protect the principal with your entire career and life. And that's what we're working with when somebody goes in and preys on them.
Right. Yeah, 100%. It's too much power over somebody who is already working hard enough to keep the show, the perception afloat that everything this politician is doing comes from their head, their brain, their, work ethic, when it's actually quite the opposite. Yeah. I want to ask you to kind of round this out. Should we trust the men's?
No, don't trust the men's. I'm sorry to men's, but no. Like, they haven't earned it.
Right. Yeah. And follow-up question, why men's?
Why men's when men's prove all the time that men's can't?
No. Men's can't, period.
I ended the sentence right there. I mean,
nothing else.
How many times?
Yeah. No.
And how is it awful. So unbelievable for people? Give me a freaking break.
The fact that people are shocked by this in any way, were you born yesterday? Because we've seen at this point, like we said earlier, the whole reminiscence of the whole Bill Clinton situation where, had sexual relations with an intern who was literally straight out of college. And lied about it multiple times. Then as soon as the court stuff started happening, then he decided, I'm going to tell the truth, half of the truth, in my opinion. And ruined this woman's career, ruined it. And then, 20 years later, we're, watching Monica Lewinsky kind of find herself again in the public where, she did not want to be. And now, millennials like myself who witnessed that whole thing are like, oh shit, yeah, there was a huge power imbalance. And the way that the media tried to portray this poor 21-year-old as some sort of Lolita.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I understand why 20 years later, these women, these staffers, would be like, oh, I can't come forward. I can't come forward. Yep. I'm going to be a Monica Lewinsky. I cannot come forward.
Yep.
People don't understand the mental gymnastics that you have to go through when you are making a decision like that. So, yeah, no, we cannot trust the men's.
No, until the men's put in the work to earn it. And I mean, I don't even just who is covering this story?
Right.
Here we are, women.
It's us.